Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to the Caliph Podcast. I'm Karusali and this is episode 28. My guest today is Aqilah Norazman, the entrepreneur and coach. You are the founder of One Habit, Singapore's first online lifestyle and body transformation coaching and mentorship company. One Habit aims to educate, strategize, and mentor people from all walks of life with all sorts of health goals to change their lifestyle for good. We are also the founder of Asian Meal Prep, a platform where you showcase your cooking skills, educating people how easy it is to have a cheap, fast, and nutritious meal. We're here to talk about your journey building the two companies, nutrition, healthy lifestyle, and more. Aqilah, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Caliph Podcast.
Waalaikumsalam, Khairul. Oh my God, that was a handful of an intro, but thank you for having me on your podcast.
Alhamdulillah. How have you been? I know you've been very busy. I've tried to reach out to you back then, and we are keep rescheduling and stuff and that. So how have you been lately? And with the circuit breaker, with the COVID-19, out of now currently phase 2, and we don't know what's next, right? So how have you been lately?
Alhamdulillah, I'll be honest. I think I've been better. I feel like the whole pandemic and the circuit breaker really took the best out of me.
Of course. Yep.
I think especially with the circuit breaker and so on, especially being new as an entrepreneur, I feel like that was a huge learning curve for me to actually handle. But Alhamdulillah, I think much better right now. I feel like it's once you get hit by it, you just sort of get back up. I think it's definitely much better. So yeah, I've been good. But yeah, it's been a while. Like we wanted to do this for a while. So
right. Because we always wonder, like coaches, we get help and we get guidance, we got mentorship by the coaches, right? But then who's helping the coaches? Right? So you guys are also human as well, and you guys need to find your own source of motivation. And I mean, of course, you guys are the expert, but I think that's how the COVID-19 has really took us, every one of us out, and alhamdulillah, I'm happy that you are back to get back your momentum here again. So I'm gonna ask you about your past before One Habit and before Asian Meal Prep started, right? And then I read about you, and back in 2010 you were really obese, and then 1 year later you get rid of the weight, 20 kgs, right? So maybe you can describe to the listeners a bit about your past, your background.
yeah, of course. Okay, so I guess my entire journey, if we're gonna talk about fitness, nutrition, and also entrepreneurship, it started. Yeah, you're right. In 2010, I feel like I think that is probably the beginning of my of everything. To be honest, and it has been about 10 years now. Like mashallah, it's been like that long. So I feel like, wow. You're right. And in 2010, I actually was obese. I've never been a health kind of person when I was a kid. So that started out in 2010 when I decided that I wanted to lose weight. And just as most people do, when they want to lose weight, they will come out with a system for it, right?
Right.
You have a goal that you wanna meet. So I tried my hand on a few things like, meal replacements, slimming pills, and so on. Even like try to go on like a low carb diet and so on. Back then, just hearing what my friends were doing. I was a bit younger then also, so I just hearing what they were doing, and then I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try this, try that. It just so happened in those experimentation, I only lasted for like a week, and then it never really, I guess, stuck by me, if you know what I mean. So then I think I realized that I was just so, I'd say, like really annoyed by the whole of going in and out of diet. And then I decided that, you know what, I'm just going to do this once and for all. I'm going to just really put some time into exercising and then eating right. So
Yeah.
that was, I guess, that very first decision to a lot of these other things that's happening in my life right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I lost weight. So I lost about 20 kilos in 8 months.
Wow.
I think if we're gonna be if I'm gonna be like honest about how I lost weight at that point, I honestly wasn't doing the sustainable way. I was actually starving
Mm.
myself. I was eating about 1,200 calories. I mean, 1,200
Yep.
calories for those who is not very familiar with how
Sure.
calories work. Is like everything that you eat has calories in it. So which means that 1,002 is actually very little. It's as
Yeah.
good as, okay, example, if you eat McDonald's, right, a meal, like an average meal in McDonald's with fries and Coke has about 600, 700 calories. So
Yep.
1,002 is basically nothing. It's very, very little.
Yeah.
And then I was eating that much like 7 days a week. And then I was exercising pretty much every single day
Mm.
for like
Wow.
an hour. And then back then, I didn't really have the knowledge of weight
Okay.
loss. I was merely just following a program. I was
Mm-hmm.
following like a book that I picked out, and 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 I was consistent and very disciplined to actually follow through it for 8 months. And I
Mm-hmm.
lost 20 kilos. I guess the big thing was not, it didn't just end there. I feel like after losing that weight, I actually struggled in maintaining it to a point where I decided that, that's enough. I actually really want to study on how our body actually works. So
All
after I
right.
lost weight, that first initial 20 kilo weight loss, I decided that, hey, I could, my childhood dream was to be a doctor. I couldn't make it to med school because I couldn't get through my 3 entrance exam.
Yeah.
Pretty open about this, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just help people lose weight.
Yep.
So while I was finishing my final year of uni back then, I decided to do a personal training certificate, and then that's the beginning of my personal training career after that 8 month weight loss journey. So once I got that, and then I realized that, okay, I'm gonna work as a personal trainer. And then
Yeah.
I started as a personal trainer, but while I was being a trainer, I actually was struggling with binge eating. It's a
Mm.
condition where you are eating a lot more than what
Yeah.
your body needs, and you cannot control the
Yeah.
desire of eating, like you just want to eat, and mostly it's done in hiding. So I guess I'd have to say that that was the aftermath of starving myself for 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I was a trainer, I was able to sort of binge, and then at the same time
Mm.
burn it off when I was at work and
Right. Right.
cleaning and so on. So, but it got the best of me for about 2 years after the weight loss. So if you actually think about it, it took me 8 months to lose the weight, but I was
Yeah.
2 years after. So I think that 2 years, 2 to 3 years of being in that journey of trying to figure out, like, why is
Yes.
my body acting this way? I realized that I needed to change that, right? So then I decided to study nutrition and really learn about how energy works in our body, like what happens when you eat, what happens when you don't eat, what happens when you starve yourself, and so
True.
on. So I studied nutrition, and then I guess things started to be a little bit better then.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I mean, it's only been, I guess, 3 or 4 years since I have to say that my last big binge would probably be about 3 years ago. It's something that is not 100% cured, I feel. So
Okay.
sometimes you just feel like, you still
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
have that tendency of like, oh my gosh, I do want to binge.
Right. Right.
And I feel like this is something that people have to know, that if you go on a starvation diet, if you cut your calories by a lot,
Correct.
if you really go on the extreme when it comes to losing weight and so on, you just got to be prepared on what's going to happen next. And most people
Yeah.
do not see that.
Yeah.
So that problem sort of led me to where I am today, where
Mm.
the company that I've built is based on sustainability a lot more than
Yeah.
getting people that initial results. I like to put
Right.
it this way, it's actually quite easy to lose weight if you know how to actually do, if you exercise, if
Yes.
you eat lesser than whatever
Sure.
that you burn off. It's actually quite easy to do that, but a lot of people do not know how to maintain the weight. So
Mm. Yeah.
what one habit is essentially trying to help people and educate people to eat better, move better, and also live better and healthier by changing their habits one at a time. So that is essentially what we do. So we focus a lot more on the system of not just losing weight,
Right.
being healthy, but really about maintaining the weight loss and understanding how to be healthy for many, many years instead for instead for like 12 weeks or
Yeah.
6 months or 8 months, because
True.
life is a lot more, like a
Correct.
lot longer than 8 months. So that's where we come in and really teach people how to be strong, confident, and
Yeah.
independent without needing to jump back into a diet. Every time they feel like, oh, I feel a bit fat and so on. So yeah, so that's essentially what one habit is. I guess that
Nice.
was the problem that I was trying to solve, and I feel like that is a gap in the
Yeah.
market right now because a
Right.
lot of people really focus on getting results, but we focus on maintaining the results
Yes.
by
Yes. Yes.
changing someone's habits. So yeah,
Wow. I
here
love
we
it.
are.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think that's something that I mean, you yourself, you experiment yourself, right? In 8 months, you really reach your results. You lost 20 kg, and then what? Right, and then what's
Yeah,
next, right?
yeah. The
Yeah.
question,
So I think
the question is, and then what? Yeah,
correct. Yeah. So I think there is a lot. What a lot of people don't realize is that once you reach your goals, probably
yeah,
1 year down the road or 2 years down the road, and then what's next? And that's
yeah.
where I think you guys actually kind of like help or give a solution for all these people, in terms of not reaching your results as fast as you can, but how can you change the lifestyle or sustain it, like you said, right?
In it, yeah.
Yeah.
Inshallah,
So,
that's the goal. That's the vision for the company. So yeah.
so how do you when before you were um obese and stuff like that, right? And then now you know a lot more about nutrition and you know how your body works and stuff. And what is it like, feeling having this kind of healthy lifestyle, or compared to yourself before? What's it like to feel
How does it
experience like?
feel
Yeah.
like being healthier
Yep.
or
Yep. Yep.
compared to being obese? Is it? Oh, I think it feels great. I don't think there's any other better feeling than feeling as though you can do a lot more in a day. You're a bit more productive and you can give your best to everyone that you serve. So I feel like that's the biggest thing about being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I remembered when I was a bit overweight, like when I was obese back then, about
Yeah.
10 years ago. My biggest trigger was really the fact that I was actually young. Like I was really young at that point. I was still in uni. I was in my final year of uni. So, but I couldn't do simple things like walking up a flight of stairs,
Yeah.
for example, or catching after a bus. Those kind of very simple things
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
I, at that age, I mean, not even talking about age, but very simple thing that
Yep.
you should be able to do as a healthy human being. So I couldn't actually do that. So that really felt very bad. So I felt
Mm-hmm.
bad for myself in a way where it's more than just how I looked. I think I just felt like I was really unhealthy. So that was, I guess, the biggest trigger. And if there's
Mm-hmm.
anything about sustaining health or weight loss, it's really about making sure that I can sustain this feeling of feeling good about myself
Right.
for
Right.
many, many years instead of going back to where I was, feeling bad, like I couldn't be able to even do something that a healthy
Mm-hmm.
human being can do. Yeah.
True. So in
Mm.
this you can call it a decade, since you
It's a decade. Yeah, it is.
yeah, right? So what's the best discovery you had in this journey of a decade?
The best discovery, if we are talking about health in
Mm-hmm.
general, is really about understanding yourself, like your body, and at the same time doing things that actually suits you. I think a lot of people make this mistake of just copying what other people are doing
Right.
when we all clearly know that all of us are very unique individuals. So what
Yes.
might work for one person might not work for the other.
Right.
Everyone lives a different life, which means that you won't be able to do something or exactly do something and get the exact same result
Correct.
as someone
Correct.
else who is doing it, right? So I think the best discovery, I feel like we should all understand what we can do, be aware of what we can actually do, and then act upon things and strategies and systems and processes that is actually is actually unique to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the one thing that I feel like is very important,
Yeah.
because we don't want to just do something because everyone is doing it and everyone's
Yep.
getting the same results. If you don't know your
Following
body,
the trend, yeah.
yeah, correct. And I think I guess that also leads to lifelong health, because that is the best thing ever. Like I feel like we should really talk about, when we talk about health, we should talk about health over a long period of
Yes.
time. Just like we talk about, money, investing and stuff like that will take years. It's the same thing with
Correct.
health. It's just that it doesn't get a lot of exposure because a lot of
Mm,
people are just talking about health in the short term, when
true.
we all know that health is something
Yeah.
that's a long term thing. So
True.
yeah.
True. I
Hmm.
think to add to your point, I listened to a podcast before, and there's this doctor. He said that um, everyone has a different biology.
Mm.
So yeah, in terms of that, in terms of the term, right? So I think everyone has a different biology, and everyone is a different way. Where he actually did experiment with a few people, and then he gave the same diet to everyone. Not everyone receive it
Everyone.
well. Yeah, and then they changed their diet, and other people did
Yeah.
well on this different particular diet. So I think I really agree with what you say. And
Yeah.
then does it mean that we have to be patient and experiment, test out what's best for us, and yeah, to find what works for us?
Yeah. I think when it comes to patience, I feel like that is the number one thing that we all should have, even if it's not just with health. I think with everything really, even in business, I think patience
Mm-hmm.
is that number one key
Yeah.
thing that will really put someone, the difference between someone who is successful, even if it's in a weight loss journey or in business, it's
Yeah.
really patience and being able to enjoy what they do day in and
Right.
day out.
Right.
So yes, of course, I think patience is a huge thing. Patience and being open to experimentation, like you said.
Mm.
And sometimes it's not just experimenting, like jumping from one diet to the other. That's not what I meant. I think being able to stick to a way of eating, like the way you exercise based on your lifestyle, and then repeat that over periods of months and years
Yeah.
is what experimenting is. In a way, also, if life kind of changes, because when it comes to health, sometimes you won't, you can plan to, for example, exercise 6 days a week, right? And then suddenly something happens, or like just recently COVID, it just somehow
Yeah.
threw everyone's plan out
Correct.
of the way, right? Imagine you signed up for a personal training package like just a few weeks
Ah.
before circuit breaker happened, right?
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
before the quarantine happened and so on. And then gyms are closed, so now what? So being able to sort of be
Mm.
flexible and be aware and then flexible on how to change your course of action according to how your life is, I feel like that is super duper important. And
Yeah.
I think just all boils down to being patient with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. Okay, let's talk about nutrition, right? How important it is compared to just exercising. I think recently I read a study where there's a study where they say they did an experiment with a few group of people where they constantly exercise, right?
Mm.
And then they record their weight loss or their health, right? And just by exercising only and not taking care of your diet, they there's very little to in a way kind of like stagnant kind of results, right? And then when I hear about professional athletes and stuff like that, they say that the difficult part is not the exercising, or not the what's happened in the field or practice or training. The difficult part is after that, what you eat and how important it is. And let's talk about nutrition, since you are a nutrition coach.
I think nutrition, I feel if we're talking about importance, I honestly feel nutrition and exercising is sort of like important. They both are important individually, but if
Sure.
you're talking about goals like improving your performance, if you're an athlete, or
Mm,
trying to lose weight, if you are someone who's on a weight loss journey, then you sort of also need to put nutrition at the forefront as well as exercise. So you won't be able to get the same results if you only exercise. and you probably won't also get the same results if you only, change your diet,
Sure.
because they both have a very different way of reacting in our
Right.
body.
Yep.
Exercise, for example, it will help you grow your muscles and get you leaner, make you feel stronger, make you run faster, and so on, right?
Yeah.
um, but nutrition, if you are eating on a calorie imbalance, like a calorie deficit, you're eating lesser than what your body needs. That's what I meant. You will probably be able to lose weight. But if you're only
Mm-hmm.
eating like that, but you're not exercising, you probably won't feel strong. So I feel like when it comes to importance, they both are important, but it really depends as well on that individual ability to be consistent with
Correct.
incorporating both the nutrition and the exercise. I
Yep.
guess they're both important, but just looking at that particular individual, would they be able to exercise like 5 days a week, example, and then
True.
also change their nutrition together at the same time? If they are not able to, then they probably will be able to just change their nutrition first and then maybe not
Mm.
exercise. But yes, they both are important. I think nutrition is also, I mean, people say that nutrition is 80-20. So, I mean, when it comes to weight loss,
Yeah.
80% is from your nutrition, 20% is exercise.
Sure.
But I feel like if we are talking about long-term health as well, they all play
Mm.
an important role. I mean,
Sure.
it's different, but they are all very important. And another one is also sleep, like recovery, right? Like rest
Yes.
is
Yes.
also an important thing. And I think all three of these things gel together to get us the outcome that we actually
Sure.
want. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So in terms of nutrition, right? What is something basic advice that you would give to, for example, someone who is overweight or unhealthy? What's the basic advice would you give for a start, to change their, I don't know, diet or something like that?
For a start, if for a beginner who is trying to change their diet, right?
Yeah.
Try to incorporate this thing where instead of eliminating something from your diet, have this mindset of having more of something. Example,
Hmm.
instead of having less of, say, I don't know, potato chips, okay? How about we have more of sweet potato, fries that we actually make ourselves, So instead of having something like, okay, fried, like, I don't know, popcorn chicken, that's in my head right now. Like, instead of having popcorn chicken, why don't we make like chicken breast pieces, and then
Mm.
coat it in like really nice panko breadcrumbs, make it ourselves, and then bake it, so instead
Mm.
of doing things like, okay, there's a good kind of food and then there's a bad kind of food, all foods are the same. I guess they all just have very different reaction to our body. So instead, because when we have this mindset of having less of something, it automatically
Sure.
goes to our brain like as if you're restricting yourself of
Okay.
that. And then over time, that's how you start to sort of feel bad about eating this
Yeah.
particular thing. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with eating potato chips or popcorn chicken. You just need to be able to eat more of the healthier stuff like the veggies, fruits. Where's your healthier food? So
Yeah.
I guess that's the most basic fundamental thing that I like people who are very
Introduce.
new in
Yeah.
nutrition and trying to lose weight. Don't restrict yourself, but instead have more of the healthier quality food. Yeah.
Nice. 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 Okay. But I think that I'm trying to put myself in their position.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then I might I here I am giving an excuse. All right.
Okay.
Being a very difficult client of
Okay.
yours.
And no,
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
let's say I would say things like, okay, Aqilah, I've been working, tirelessly at work. I don't have time to make my own food. I come home, my kids are noisy here and there, and then I'm just too tired, and then I would just need to go back and sleep, and then after that, the next day work again, right?
Mm.
And then my wife, she's also working. We have bills to pay, we have loans to finish here and there. So I have no time to make my own food. All I have is just, takeaways and stuff like that. So how do I don't even have time to exercise, maybe just one day in
Yeah.
the weekends. So
Yeah.
how?
Okay.
Help me.
No,
Help.
okay. Very difficult client indeed. But no, okay, so that is actually more common than you think. I think a lot
Okay.
of us,
Of course.
especially living here in this region of the world,
Sure.
with all the demands of life, really, it's actually more common
Yep.
to do this than it is uncommon. So we get this all the time. So I feel like this is something that is very, very typical. I feel like this is just
Yep.
normal. So one thing that we like, what I would suggest you to do instead of viewing weight loss, I guess I'm assuming your goal is to lose weight, right? So I guess be healthy. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we're role
I just,
playing.
I just, I just want to stop feeling tired.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So your goal is to feel less tired.
Yeah.
Great. So my question to you is, what if you can actually change just one thing in your nutrition? Just
Okay.
one thing. It can be as simple as like just drinking water or carrying a water bottle. Okay. What is that one thing that you can actually do? Like, don't even worry about what all
Mm,
these other plans are telling you to, but what is the very first thing or that one simple thing that you can actually do? Of course,
mm,
if you are a real client, we do prep them with, different
yeah.
scenarios. Like
Yeah.
example, would you be able to perhaps order in? I mean, you are ordering food from outside.
Yeah.
Would you be able to order in something? You order your own food, but then maybe order a side of salad. Example, or like instead of veggies, like it can be an Asian veggie. Doesn't matter how well cooked it is. Okay, as long as there's some grease. Is that possible? If it
Mm-hmm.
is, great. Let's do that. Let's test that out for like a week or two and then see whether or not you'll be able to do that. Another example is maybe you eat out, it's fine. And maybe we can actually talk about healthier food options from outside because there's always different food options that is
Yeah.
available out there that is healthier than the rest. So those things, I guess if you actually notice what I'm doing is just to sort of break it down
Right.
very small pieces.
Yeah.
Instead of here you go, Carol, I'm handing you out a meal plan.
Mm,
9 out of 10 times it doesn't work
doesn't
for
work. Yeah.
the average person who lives in this region of the world. You have to be like me 10 years ago, where I'm so disciplined and waking up like at
True.
5
Very
a.m.
true.
to just go for a jog.
Mm-hmm.
And no kids, you don't have responsibilities, you don't have
Yeah.
and so on to actually do that. So I
Yeah.
think what you need to do is just to break down all the problems and then find very simple solution. And then just like anything that's important, you build up on momentum lah. Basically baby steps lah. Because if you think about it this way, it's gonna take a while. Of
Yeah.
course, it comes down to expectations as well. That doesn't mean that you're gonna lose like 20 kilos in 8 months,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more doable, it's more realistic, and
Yeah.
a bit more long term.
Nice. Great advice. I'm sold. Okay. I mean, I think another problem, maybe from the consumers or from the clients is that I think they want to. I mean, for the busy ones, right? They want to eat healthy, but then all the healthy food options outside are so expensive, right?
Yeah,
Salad can cost like 3 times the price of a normal meal of nasi
yeah.
lemak, for example, right? I think that is so frustrating. Why are the people
Really.
that want to be like, it's like they are telling you indirectly like, don't be healthy, just eat the fast food, it's
Nana,
cheap.
actually,
Yeah,
this
anything to
is
say about that?
something I gotta admit, Carol, I don't actually buy salad from outside because it's so overpriced. And I feel like, I mean, I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not exactly sure why people mark up the price of salads and
Yeah.
healthy food. Because if you think about it, veggies are actually pretty cheap. Now, if you actually go to like supermarket, right, you can actually get
Right.
veggies like a bundle for like, you
Right.
know, $3. Like, three
Yeah.
bundles of like something, like three bundles of like some Asian veggie for like $3. And it's cheap. So I'm not actually sure why healthy food are expensive. I think it's the bit where it's an opportunity. People are jumping into the trend of eating
Mm-hmm.
healthy, so
Correct.
it's a business opportunity there. I feel, but I mean, I might be wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to be slammed for this, but it could be other reasons as well.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely. And I guess this comes down to if we're on topic of how people can really change their nutrition, even
Yeah.
if food outside is expensive. Then this is the part where you don't have to eat salad to live a healthy lifestyle. Like it's not only just the salad or fresh organic food. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
It also comes down if you're talking about sustainability, whether you can afford it. Is it affordable for your life?
Yeah.
Is it
Correct.
is it something you can do for a long time? Because some people might not be able to afford it,
True.
but yet they still have this intention of trying to live healthier. So you don't actually need to run to a salad store just because you want to lose weight. I feel like for us as the people who wants to lose weight, I feel like that is an excuse if we're gonna say that, but healthy food is expensive
Mm-hmm.
outside. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's an excuse that we are playing in our mind that says that no, but I don't want to lose weight because it's healthy food is expensive. But honestly speaking, you can definitely still be healthy if you know how
Mm-hmm.
to make our traditional health, yeah, traditional Malay food, even traditional Malay food, you can even pick healthier options out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might mean that you won't be like as ripped, or like you don't have, six pack or something like that, but at least you're healthier than
True.
when you first started.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Okay, let's talk about your business journey. How did one habit started back in 2015, right? So how did it started?
Yeah, funny story. I guess one habit started not as one habit. I I actually had a very different name for it. It was called 15 pretty awesome weeks.
Oh, that's
So
long.
in yeah, no. Talk about, mistakes. But totally unglamorous. It's called 15 PAW. And it
Oh.
was initially a 15-week program that I offer
Mm.
online. Like it was semi-online. So we do have like events and seminars offline, and at the same time, like the bulk of the content is delivered online. So that is what 15 PAW is. But remember how the whole vision was to make something a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah.
I realized that 15 weeks is no different than, jumping into a 12-week program and then losing weight.
Yeah.
So that's when I started. This was in 2015. So I guess that's between March to say about November
Mm-hmm.
2015
Mm-hmm.
or early 2016. I can't really remember timelines, but that was when I decided, you know what, I think my clients are still coming back with the same issue. They lose weight in 15 weeks, but then at the same time, they are not able to sustain whatever that I have taught them. And then I realized that, you know what, it's not going to be 15 weeks. Okay. I think I'm going to focus on habits instead. So
Mm.
instead of changing things in their life for 15 weeks, I changed it to a habit based program, like a coaching program where it's a lot more habit based teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it was digital, so a lot of the stuff are done online. I still meet them every now and then to sort of check in
Yeah.
sometimes, but it's predominantly online. And then I changed the name from 15 PAW to One Habit Nutrition because
Mm.
a lot of our content at that point was very nutrition based. So it was things like, eating slowly. That is one of the habits. It's
Yep.
actually, it's a very most basic healthy eating habit that is also practiced by our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Something.
So eating slowly.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Nice.
and stop eating before you get too full, something like that. Those are the
Yeah.
habits. Having enough protein, eating your veggies, and so on. So those things
Right. Right. Right.
are habits. So that was one habit, nutrition. So I guess so when I started what one habit is now, it was in 2015. I was a sole proprietor. So I
Mm.
think at that point, I actually just came back from my trip in Canada. So I actually lived in Toronto for
Oh,
six
okay.
months because just prior to that, I was already in my fifth year of being a trainer. I was just a new nutrition coach. I
Okay.
really did not know what I wanted to do. Sort of like, I guess that was the period where I was really lost. And I'm kind of like deciding, okay, do I really want to be in this industry? Do I like, what is it I actually like doing, and so on. So I decided to take like a 6-month break to travel. So I
Nice.
had a friend who was living in Canada, and then I just sort of went there for about 6 months, travel around America, so North America and also the eastern part of Canada.
Yep.
And then so that's when I was there traveling, that's when I kind of had like my aha moment, because coaching, like online coaching and just coaching in general, is a very big thing in America.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So people are actually doing that in such great scale, like
Yep.
even the big gyms and so on. So fitness, nutrition, and so on is way ahead of us, like back then. And this was 2014.
Yeah.
What back then, like 2014, there wasn't much going on in Singapore when it comes to fitness
Yeah.
and nutrition. So I kind of had that aha moment when I was traveling, and I thought that there was a huge gap in Singapore that hasn't been closed yet. So that's when I decided that, okay, you know what, I'm gonna actually gonna go back and try this out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when the 15 PAW happened.
Mm.
And then One Habit Nutrition happened. And then I was a sole prop. I was really building my network in the first 3 years, 2015, 16, 17.
Yeah.
And then at 2017, I decided that, you know what, I'm actually just going to turn this into like a company, right? So
Yeah.
in 2017, I converted from a sole prop to a private limited company.
Nice.
I had my mom on board, to be honest. Okay, so I had my mom
Oh.
on board as my first initial investor, so to speak. And then we had the opportunity to open up a studio in where we are right now, which is in Busora Street.
Nice.
So because the main market that we actually serve for One Habit is the Malay. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the Malay woman, actually about 25 to 55 years old. So
Right.
someone in the middle to the higher income woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we serve them, and I realized that it's a very strategic location to be where we are right now.
Right. Right.
So that's when things started to kind of just snowball, and then from the
Nice.
groundwork that I've done in my initial 3 years before the studio happened, I felt like, I guess that was the right time. I felt right at that point to start a physical studio. So that's what I did, and that was in 2018 in March. And now
Mm.
we just celebrated our 2.5 years. Also nearly 2.5 years being
Nice.
here
Congrats.
in Busora Street. So, and 3 years as a private limited company. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. Congrats. Okay. You have coached, multiple countless of clients before. Maybe you can share with me your favorite client story. Is there anyone?
Favorite client story. Oh my gosh. I'm always very inspired by my clients. I'm just thinking right now, right out of that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Anyone that you remember in particular?
I'll be honest, I think not in particular, but I think what really inspires me about my clients is that when they go through like a
Mm-hmm.
coaching program with me, it's really inspiring to hear when they come back to me like many, many years later, maybe like 3 or 4 years later, and
Yeah.
see that this is where they are right now. Like,
Wow.
thank you for all your guidance. 4 years ago, I've managed to get my husband into, changing his
Nice.
lifestyle. It's a bit slow, but we are here now. And I think I got to thank you for all that. So I feel like that is very inspiring. I think I'd say that I guess my favorite client story would be the community that we have built in One Habit. I feel like everyone here is very supportive of each other, and I'm talking about like the clients. They are supportive of each other's journey, which
Mm-hmm.
is very. I feel like that's probably the most heartwarming thing as a founder, to be able to see that happening,
Yeah.
even without me, trying to like make everyone feel inspired or something. So I feel like that
Yeah.
is really, I guess that's the most favorite thing. It's very heartwarming.
Nice. Nice. And I'm sure you have those clients who are like 4 years later be like coming to you like, it's not working. Look
Yeah,
at me.
yeah, no.
Yeah. How do you
There
react to
is,
that?
there is. I guess there's always a pattern to how why these clients do not actually stick on something. Um, I don't know, like I'll be like, I told you so. No,
They'll be like, I
or
lost it. I lost it, Aqilah.
nah, I think you always have to be compassionate. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times life usually gets in the way, but
Correct.
I have this belief that you don't you don't fail unless you have quit. So for them to even still reach out and be like, oh my gosh, look at me now, this is what has happened. I feel like that's a very good strength that they have to be able
Mm-hmm.
to still reach out for help. Sometimes it might take longer
Yeah.
than some people.
Correct.
So everyone has a different timeline. We don't have a fixed
Yeah.
timeline. So
True.
yeah, so I feel like that's a strength rather than a limitation. Yeah.
For Asian meal prep, right?
Hmm.
I'm so curious also how did it started, and um were you this good of a cook before, or like how did you just suddenly whip up so much
I can
mouth-watering food?
I have to write a disclaimer. I am not a chef. I am not even a cook. Okay. I like to say that I just prepare my food in my day-to-day life of, eating healthy. I find that, like what we discussed earlier, eating out is not, necessarily healthy. Okay. So I feel like it's a lot more convenient if I were to actually
Mm-hmm.
cook myself.
Mm-hmm.
So how it started was just that. So basically, I was just preparing food for myself. And then I thought that, you know what? I can actually, record and film how this is done.
Nice,
If
nice.
you actually kind of go back to my very first videos in
Mm.
2016, you actually notice that my videos were just really bad. Like, it was literally
Yeah.
I had a setup and then it was like a camera right here and I'm kind of like cooking and it's so funny. So basically that
Yeah.
was the inspiration behind it. And also there were, again, after my travels, there's a few bloggers that I actually followed, who's based in America,
Mm.
who has their
Yeah.
own like meal prep channels and so on. So I was kind
Yeah.
of inspired to actually do that for
Nice.
the Asian community. So that's how Asian meal prep started.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice, nice. I mean, you're in business for what, good 5 to 6 years, right?
I, yes, I guess so.
Around there. Yeah. Maybe you can share with us your best business lesson that you have learned throughout these years.
Oh, best business lessons. Oh my gosh. Um, I think there's a few lah. I think can I share a few?
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I guess the first one is to try. Okay, it's not about trusting or not trusting people, but I feel like we should learn how to get advice and be open to get advice from people who has done it and kind of not listen to people who hasn't. I think that is one thing that really, one big lesson for me is like, I think there is uh, a quote from Rumi, if I'm not wrong, like,
Mm-hmm.
someone hasn't traveled that path, you should not seek the
Right.
advice from them
True,
because they
true.
wouldn't, they would,
Wouldn't
do the
understand.
opposite,
Yeah.
imagine like you ask someone for investor advice, but that person has never raised funds, right? They will tell you
Correct.
a million and one things that is
Yeah.
negative, right?
Right.
So at some point during my last 5 years, I probably did ask the wrong kind of people or wrong people really, for advice,
Mm-hmm.
and got myself into a whole lot of trouble in not trouble, but it's just more of a lot of, what's that word? Like, it's just a lot of disruptions, a lot of
Yeah.
distractions as well, because,
Yeah.
I was bogged down by the negativity of this group of people who have never done
Yeah.
what I am setting out to do and so on. So I feel like that is the number one lesson, is to be able to vet through who you are listening to
Correct.
and really build your network of people who has done it,
Correct.
which is just like what you're doing right here, right?
Yeah.
So it's really about, seeking the right advice from the right kind of,
Correct.
and not everyone is going to be the right people to go to.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I feel like that's a one big lesson. I think the
Yep.
second one is something that I have just recently sort of understood, is patience lah. I feel like I think being patient in business is so important, and I always kind of question, like in my first few years, like, oh my gosh, it's so tiring. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know who to ask for help. You don't have the right network of people.
Right.
People are not listening to you, and so on. And then you just want to give up, right? And then
Correct.
I feel like, I think being patient in, you know sticking to your intention and then
Mm-hmm.
being patient with it and then just really repeating it consistently is probably the best thing also. It's the best business lesson that I've learned over the last 5 years.
Nice.
Those two, I feel, is the one that I have at the top of my mind right now.
Yep.
But I'm
That's
sure,
good.
as I go along, as I go to sleep, I feel like.
I mean, it's always a learning lesson for every one of us, lah, right? In terms of business, there's no there's you can't just like I know it all kind of thing. So I think I as much as you learn, I'm learning from you as well. So I think they are very good, two strong pointers there you have. I'm just curious. Have you ever worked before?
I have
Like,
actually.
okay,
I-
and what kind of work did you do
Okay,
before, and why don't you see yourself working?
for someone. Great
Yeah.
question. Okay, cool. So I like this question actually because a lot of people think that I've never really worked and I cannot work for people and so on. But I have. My first job was actually I actually have. I mean, if we count all my part-time gigs and like full-time jobs, I actually have 9 different jobs
Okay.
in my entire lifetime lah, basically. Okay.
Right.
So I guess my very first and the longest term job was I was actually a barista in Starbucks. I think that's like very
Ooh.
normal, like those kind of after
Yeah.
school kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
thing. So all through uni, I was actually in Starbucks for about 9 years, 10 years, nearly
Oh,
nine
wow.
years. So it's very long. So it was a part-time job, so it wasn't like
So
taking a
you
lot.
look familiar.
What?
No lah.
Is
Okay. Okay.
that what you do all
No.
Starbucks
No. No. No.
barista?
Right. Okay.
Did you work at
Starbucks.
Starbucks too?
No. No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so and then after that I held different jobs like I was working at an IT service desk in uni. I was working at a convenience store. I was a Grab driver once. I think but those are like part-time stuff. But I think
Yeah.
my most biggest, like I guess, full-time job would probably be when I was working at Pure. Oh, sorry, off the record. Okay. I was working at a big commercial gym as a personal trainer. So
Mm.
and
Okay.
and I actually didn't like how things are run over there.
Sure.
So that was, I guess, the closest job that I have to whatever that I'm currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't like how things are done. So I felt like, you know what, I don't want to do this. I feel like I should be doing my own stuff. So that's why I left that job
Mm-hmm.
and then I decided to start my own thing. So yeah, I have worked before.
Okay. You look familiar again. No. Nah, I'm kidding. All right. Okay. I've recently gone through your personal Instagram feed, and I'm very impressed with your um whatever you've been pushing out your content and stuff. So you are actually a very good content creator, I feel, at least. And I've been through that road, and it's not easy to be a content creator. It's exhausting, and especially the post editing and stuff, and always constantly thinking of ideas of how you want to add value to your audience, right? How do you there's times surely where you hit a roadblock, where you just exhausted of it and just feel a burnout. So how do you recover from that as a content creator?
I think I take a lot of breaks. If you actually see my
Yep.
feed, it's not. I would say that I would love for it to be a little bit more consistent than it is. I think I just came back from a pretty long break of
Yep.
making content
Sure.
for my own personal Instagram, and that's because I was taking a little break because I was focusing on other aspects of the business
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more. I think my dilemma right now is juggling the business and making content. I feel like it's a
Yep.
very difficult thing to do
Correct.
right now because at one point, I might be, dealing with client, customer stuff or whatever in the business, and
Mm-hmm.
then at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, oh my gosh, I still need to think about all these like content that I have to make. So I feel like that is something that I haven't mastered, and I'm very aware of that.
Yep.
So I try to be as forgiving as possible. Like, sometimes I just be like, okay, you know what, I haven't put out content. So I try to forgive myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now I guess post COVID, post circuit breaker, It's a little bit more time as well. So I am back in the game of making content. So you can
Nice.
see the rhythm. And I
Yeah.
feel like being forgiving and compassionate to myself is a very big thing. And
Nice.
understand that it's okay for me to take breaks. I think nobody else can actually say this to myself but me. And I think
Yeah.
everyone else who feels like they have a burnout should realize that it's okay to take breaks from social media every
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
and then and focus on the more important things in life. I feel
Correct.
like it's not like a be all and all kind of thing. So it's okay to take breaks. So yeah, that's I guess that's how I recover from it. And then surprisingly, I didn't even think of making content this week, but I did. So that was like, oh wow.
Mm.
Okay. So that was a surprise. So I felt like
Yeah.
that was okay. So I think I'm back in the game. I don't know how long that will last, but I'm just embracing it as I go.
Nice,
So yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, I love that advice. Just be forgiving and have that compassion.
Mhm. Yeah.
Compassion to at least for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because no
Right.
one's gonna tell you like, why you're not producing content today, Aqilahs. What's wrong?
I think we are our worst enemy, I feel.
Correct. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
anyone else who is like, hey, I don't
Agree.
know about you, but like, I feel like I don't think anyone has said that to me. It's like, hey, why you haven't created content? Things
Agree.
that we
Agree.
impose to ourselves, like, I feel. So we just
Yeah.
be kinder. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that question is for myself. So thank you for
Oh,
that.
yeah, there you go. Oh, and for
Okay.
the record, I haven't even created content for Asian Meal Prep in like since Circuit Breaker ended. So that's since June.
Yeah.
Okay? And I remember during Circuit Breaker, I was a little bit more on the ball with Asian Meal Prep because I had more time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now since the studio has just reopened, I'm like, oh my
Sure.
gosh, I do not even have time to shoot any content. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, forgiving. I'm forgiving. I'll be okay.
Right, great, great. Okay, as a coach, right? What is something that you always hear from, I don't know, maybe other experts or other nutritionists in terms of misinformation on health and fitness? That you're like, hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't be telling that to people and stuff like that. Are there any like misinformation or false information out there that is be circling around that you're like, no, that's not right, and you shouldn't be telling that kind of thing? Is there any?
I guess one thing that is on the top of my head is the bad rep rice has in our community also. Like rice, if you want to lose weight, you should
Mm-hmm.
not be eating rice and so on.
Okay.
I think that is one big thing I feel like that I have right now.
Okay, sure.
I guess there's a lot. The thing about nutrition is that it's a very debatable industry. It's also something that is very new. I mean, it's only things that has been spoken about in the last 30, 40 years. So a lot of things right now that is happening, like, the different sort of diets and so on is very new. So there's always debates on, something that is good for you or something that's bad and so on.
Yeah.
So I like to read up about things like this, but at the same time I think it's very important for me as a nutrition coach as well to not skew in one category. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, again, like I said, right, there's no such thing as a good or bad food, as much as there's no such thing as a good and bad diet. But
Sure.
in my head at this point, I feel like one of the most prominent one is that if you're trying to lose weight, you should not be eating rice. I feel like that is totally untrue. Again, rice is not the enemy. Okay, rice
Yeah.
is it's a form of it's a food which is predominantly a carbohydrate food.
Right.
So it's just because you want to lose weight does not mean you have to cut rice entirely, because our bodies still thrive on carbohydrates. You just need to know how to portion it out. You might need to know when to eat it, when is the best time to eat it, and so on. So yeah, so I guess if there's one myth I feel like I probably would need to debunk is the fact that rice is not bad for you guys.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, so other than you focusing on your one habit, other than you are focusing on your Asian meal prep and your own content creation, right, in terms of your personal media, like what are the things that you have invested your time and resources on?
um I guess I have to say that I'm a forever learner. I feel like I will always need to be doing something on the side that will allow me to be a better coach or a better
Nice.
entrepreneur or something like that.
Yeah.
So at any given time, I would probably be doing a course. So I just finished up my level 2 coaching course
Nice.
last April, and then as soon as I finished that, I started no last March, and then as soon as I finished that, I started my masters in strength and conditioning, which is I'm currently doing as well. So other than my
Mm-hmm.
business, my content creation, I'm studying as well right now.
Right. Right.
I'm doing a part-time master's degree in exercise science, to major in strength and conditioning. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's partly because it's really my age and really my want to be
Mm-hmm.
better as a person.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's what I am investing myself and my time and resources on.
Nice. Nice. Okay. A bit more personal questions. Who are your role models and why?
Wow. Okay. I guess I'd have to say, firstly, and the first and foremost, my biggest one is probably my mom. I think she has raised me up to be
Mm.
a little bit more daring, I think, a little bit more like, you know what, if you want to do whatever, you can just go for it. I think she had never really
Nice.
controlled on what I want to do in life. And I think that's really nice. And I feel like that gave me the room to experiment on what I want my career to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. My dad is my other role model. My dad has been in business for a while, so he has
Oh,
stuff going on as well. So I think I never really thought of being an entrepreneur from the very beginning, but now that I am doing this every single day, I feel like I take on a little bit about my dad, like his drive, and
nice.
his kind of passion on serving the community. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a big thing that I've taken from him. And finally, I feel like I have been influenced quite a lot by Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm not embarrassed to say this because I feel like, I like that bit. I like I kind of get the hard stuff from him. Like, like if you're feeling lazy, I just watch
Yeah.
his and I'm like, you know what? Get out and go. So yeah, I feel like
Nice.
he
Nice.
of like my role model. I don't know. I don't know him in person. He doesn't know me, but it's more of like
Yeah.
from far. I guess we have this bunch of people who we just look up to when things get really rough. So yeah.
All right. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. I always ask this to all my guests at the end. What makes a great leader?
What makes a great leader? Wow, that's a tough question. It's
Is
really
it?
tough because I feel like, it's one thing that I still haven't really mastered, like being a leader.
I mean, what are qualities that you look up to?
Yeah.
If there's a leader out there, Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the ability to guide someone and really sort of not like micromanage kind of thing. It's really about passing on the knowledge that you have as a person to the people around you is a really good trait of a leader that I feel
Mm-hmm.
um, I want to take after. So yeah, being able to mentor and coach and having the humility to know that you don't know everything is I feel uh is a trait that I feel like every good leader should have. So I feel like,
Nice.
if you have the humility, you won't feel as though you are the king. You probably would want to learn and also listen
Right.
to the people that you are leading instead of just doing things that you feel is right. So yeah, those
Mm.
are those are the key things.
Nice. Nice. I like it. I like it. I mean, the highest percentage of why people leave their jobs is because of bad leadership, right? So I think you really raise really good pointers there for really true leaders out there. I mean, we are actually kind of lacking of a lot of good leadership lah.
Mm.
So probably that's why the question is always asked. and it leads to the brand. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for your time, Aqilah. I know you're a very busy woman. I've yet to check out your gym in Basura Street. Is it?
Street. Yeah, come
Yeah, maybe
around if you are around
maybe
the area.
yeah. So maybe inshallah I will pop by and I will carry the lightest weights there.
What? I don't think so.
Right?
Yeah, come around. Let me
Do,
know
do
if
you
you.
do you cook at your gym?
I do. I do. We do have an induction cooker, so
Really? Okay, can. Yeah, I'll probably look forward to that. I'll bring 2 eggs and
okay.
avocado and salt and pepper.
You don't have to. We have avocados and eggs all the time in the gym. So
All right, alhamdulillah. Okay, thank you, Aqilah. I pray that you continue to inspire the community. With your sustainable vision and maintaining how the community should be in terms of their health and their fitness, right? So I pray that you continue to inspire everyone and yeah, may Allah grant you the strength and to go through everything, all the obstacles in life. And yeah, any last parting words that you like to say?
um, I guess I'm really humbled by being here. I feel like just I learn a lot from people, so I feel like I'm just a really small thing in this, but I feel
Uh,
like I feel like thank you so much, Carol, for everything. I feel like anyone listening in, if they are really feeling like they want to start a business, or start something that they are passionate about, I think they should just go and get started. I feel like that's the big thing that
nice.
most people don't do. But the deal breaker is really about just getting started. So yeah, any kind of dreams, the very first step is to get started. So yeah. But thank you. I feel really humbled being here. And thank you so much for, you and your team for having me.
Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.